Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Joshua Solomon is my review for the Killers of the Flower Moon movie by Martin Scorsese. This is Saturday. I'm trying to see the date right now if I could make sure I know the date. October 21st. Yeah, I'm just doing a review for this film. My immediate thoughts. I'm not gonna do a spoiler for this movie because I think it's a lot of elements that it would take too long to spoil and bring up every topic or every element in this film. But I have to say this film was very, very dense, very, very it's a lot going on in this film. A lot. I mean, it's directed by a master director like Martin Scorsese, and I think this film needs many viewings to really, I think, understand. But I think the problem with this film is this runtime, which definitely started hurting me really for this film. I started feeling the runtime. I think it's just too long, and pacing issues in the third act really hurts it too. Because I think in the third act it just runs out. It stops. The pacing's off. It doesn't. It just starts to feel like we're just standing still. A lot of such scenes, and there's a lot of just. I know everything has a point to it, but I think we had too much dialogue, exposition scenes, and it's like, I don't know. I think showing the audience is better than telling the audience, and especially if it's a long film. But I think this film is not just a film. It's not here. I don't think he made this movie for entertainment purposes. I think this is very educational. Because in the end, spoiler, I guess. I mean, I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna spoil everything in this, but it's just, if you say, I recommend you watch it first before you watch the review to get your own opinion. But I do warn you that this movie is very long. But spoiler, Martin Scorsese shows up in the end as a cameo, as he's like, it breaks the fourth wall, and it does like this old time radio play, and it's really breaking the fourth wall, showing cinema and what cinema represents. And I think it was like, for how long it was, I think it pays off, because I think he's almost like he's trying to show how long he could explain something in a film. It's always going to not be the accurate truth, of what happened, and it's never going to be and I don't know. It's very hard to put in words, but I think I understand what you're trying to go for. And I think it really pays off in the end, for me personally. Because I was starting to feel runtime in the third act. I was starting to get kind of like, all right, this movie's gonna have to end. It just feels like and the pacing just gets slow at the end. And I mean, but it's Martin Scorsese, and I think he makes his point, in my opinion. For me personally, he makes his point. Like that these people with all this wealth and power just got eliminated out of history, and he references the Tulsa massacre. It's a good movie. I don't think Leonardo DiCaprio puts on the greatest performance of all time. For me personally, I think it was kind of lackluster, to be honest. There's a lot of No, you know, it's very right, red found very different. Yes, right. It's just right, very different, yeah. Oh God, I killed my daughter. It's like, look, I told you this is my reaction, you know, to the trailer. I was like, you know, this is not gonna get him an award. I can tell you that right now. He's like the weakest thing in this film, in my opinion. He's not the weakest thing where it's bad. He's not bad in it, but it just feels like he was just not really doing anything special. And I feel a lot of his mannerisms, I've seen him do that in so many films that it's just kind of like he feels like he's playing the same character in everything. It's starting to really feel like that, you know, and because it's too much. He's not doing anything where he stands out as a character, and I don't know. I know I've been back and forth on how I feel about Leonardo DiCaprio, but I don't think he did anything in this film that was really that special. The one his wife, Leonardo DiCaprio's character's wife, the actress I think is really good, but she kind of just disappears. And I think it's just a script too. It's hard because, you know, I understand directors who are doing stuff based on true events, and you're trying to stay faithful to the, you know, the history, you know, even though I would like to read the book for myself and you know, study it for myself rather than see it in film. And I think that's what he really says at the end of the movie, you know, that this is all just theater. It's not like, it can never be as accurate as the real history, and it's just like all of this amazing history that's just been forgotten and just erased. You know, I think it's definitely a passion project, definitely for him, and I could feel it, but I don't know. I would say I like his movie Silence more than this. There's a lot of other Martin Scorsese films I would rather see again than this. Like Taxi Driver, this has nothing on Taxi Driver in any way, shape, or form. This is not anywhere close to being like as good as Silence, in my opinion. I just think that he just is in his age getting where that's the way he wants to his storytelling, you know, and maybe I'll appreciate it at a different time or a different part of my life, you know, and, you know, I don't know. I think and I felt the same way about Oppenheimer's, you know, movie when I first saw it, that the length really drags it down for me. But I think sometimes with movies like this, you have to let it resonate. You have to like let it, you know, you have to let it sit with you for a minute before you really could give your true thoughts. And sometimes I've came out of movies thinking like, oh, I didn't like that, and then like a week later, after thinking about it, like, wow, actually the movie's really good. Problem with this movie's too fucking long, man. Like, I said that about Oppenheimer, but this movie, I don't know. This movie is too long, man. It just, because Oppenheimer, I feel like the story from when I first saw it was told at the second act, you know, after the second act, that we didn't need a third act. This feels like the story, everything is there, but I think it's just too many scenes that are just not really necessary. There's too many too many slow-paced scenes where it's too much just, let's just drag this scene that really doesn't have any purpose. It's not gonna really move the story along. Just let's just drag the scene just for, you know, just show it, you know. And it'd be one thing if you let some actor, you know, like Leonardo DiCaprio, I don't know, he's just one note to me. I didn't feel like he had a lot of range. I didn't feel he nuanced him. I just felt like he was a scumbag throughout the whole thing, and then at the last minute he felt sorry that his daughter died, which it just felt kind of like out of nowhere. You know, it's like, yeah, his daughter. You know, it's like, okay, you're shocked your daughter died? Like, man, you've been doing some foul shit this entire time. Like, I don't understand. I don't know. I mean, it's definitely a bold film. Let's put it that way. I was trying to find a word. It's definitely ambitious film, a bold film. And I think Martin Scorsese is great because he takes risks like that. I think he's a great director because he challenges the audience. I think he's a great director because he doesn't treat the audience like they're stupid, you know. And I think you really have to be prepared for his kind of films, you know. But, you know, I don't know. I think that he could, you know, he's an old man, and I'm a huge fan of him. You know, I support any real art, you know, even if it's not something that I necessarily rock with. But this movie it's good, but I do think that it's hurt by the pacing and the time, you know, and it might just again be me watching this for the first time, you know, but I think that pacing does matter, and you know, unless you're hitting on all cylinders with the emotions non-stop, and it's just non-stop, like you have feeling, it's just you can't just have people trapped in a theater for over 3 hours, you know. But you know, I give him a pass because he is up in age, and you know, I feel like he's just trying to savor his director, you know, his ability to direct, you know, even putting himself in a film. Well, he's done that before, like in Taxi Driver, but you know, the way he did this one felt very special. Like it was like a break of the fourth wall kind of feeling, and I really enjoyed that. I will give this movie a I would have to say an 8 out of 10. And I know a lot of people are gonna get mad at me, like, how dare you give Martin Scorsese, a legend, 8 out of 10, and you gave like what the last films I've seen like 9s and 10s and stuff. Because I found it very tedious after a while at the end, and I mean, I think he's just starting to lose that you know, that, you know, I don't know, that restraint. I think he used to put what he needed in films back then, but now in his age, I think he's losing that restraint. He's doing a lot just because, you know, he knows that he's getting old. I feel like he just knows he's getting old, and he's just trying to enjoy his experience. And I understand that as an artist to another artist is a 10 out of 10. But as a audience member, this movie is definitely, and I'm gracious. I'm just being bold, gracious. It's 8 out of 10 because at the end, it's just. With Leonardo DiCaprio's like just lackluster performance, in my opinion, because he didn't really do anything, in my opinion, that was like wow. And everyone, the critics were like, "This is Leonardo has the greatest performance of all time." And, I would say his performance in Django Unchained had more gravitas and more. I had more interest seeing him in that than this. You could have got someone else to pull this off, in my opinion. And I think you could have got someone else way better. I would have gotten someone like Bill Burr, you know, to play that role. You know, like someone who just looks like rugged, you know, unbelievably rugged. Yeah, I think Bill Burr would have been a great choice because he's a great actor, and I think he could play serious and he could play comedy really well. Leonardo DiCaprio, it's just, I don't know. I think he just didn't really feel. He didn't really get. I didn't feel him in this role. I didn't really. He just got boring. Got to me after a while. The writing is dense. It's a lot going on. I mean, it's really good at times, but I feel like it's just too much exposition at times, where it's almost like it just gets kind of like let me have time just to think about, like, process something for a minute. Let me just get something you look at for a minute. It's just too much dialogue and exposition, and a lot of shit's just obvious. You know, a lot of this shit is just kind of like, why do we need even dialogue on this? I don't know. It was a good film. I mean I had a good time watching it. I just didn't really enjoy the third act for me personally. And I was like, I'm just saying the same thing I said about Oppenheimer. But honestly, I think I'm getting this less because I think it's even I think it's worse with the pacing than Oppenheimer, in my opinion. I think it's just a lot of redundant information that we're getting. You know, and I think we're doing everything. I just think there's scenes that could have been cut. You know, I think that the pacing should have been really worked on. I think he put too much in it, where he got bloated. You know, and I can't just lie because Marcel says it. I think a lot of people that's why they're saying Leonardo DiCaprio is incredible. That's what they're saying. They're giving all this like extremely high praises. You know, I just don't want to just be. I want to be honest. I want to just give an honest review. It's a masterpiece of filmmaking, but you know, I just don't think the third act. I mean, I like the finale. The finale of the third act puts everything together. Technically, you know, and technically puts everything together, but I don't know. It's just I think we could have gotten to that a little faster, and I think it just by the time it gets there, it's like, wow, that's great, but damn, dude, we didn't need to take all this time to get to that. You know, you did all this just to get to that. Like, and that's another thing. I think the finale kind of even makes it hurt a little bit more because it's kind of like, well, that was long, and just to have an ending like that. I don't know. I feel like maybe I might change my mind if I see it again. I'm still processing it. I think the cast does a great job. In general, the music, there's good parts in the soundtrack, but I think they already do the some one soundtrack that they use that goes like dun, 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 dun. And that soundtrack just goes throughout the whole damn movie. It's like, all right, can we get something else? This is like, it sounds like you guys been using this again. Why are we just using the same soundtrack in every scene? It just that makes it feel like it's almost like you're just watching this shit on where it's just repeating itself over and over again. And that's where I'm almost kind of like, okay, I don't know. It's just it's a great film. I think for cinema fans, I think for old school cinema fans, they will enjoy this a lot. I can tell you this: young audience is not gonna get into this. I think this is gonna just be too long. And I could see the theory people were I could hear people say, "How long is this movie?" You know, and all the people there I think enjoyed it were the old people. You know, I think old people have more patience, and this is made by an old man, so it's definitely you need to have patience and you need to have some sort of enjoyment of cinema. But at the same time, I enjoy cinema so much that I acknowledge that this runtime is way too fucking long, and the pacing in third act is just too fucking slow. You know, and I don't know, the cameos in this were just kind of abrupt and a little jarring and distracting. And it's just like, why? This is kind of unnecessary to get these actors. I mean, I understand. Sometimes directors want to just do that because they're really big fans of certain actors, but I don't know. Felt kind of jarring out of nowhere. But you know, that's about it. I went into a lot of depth about this film. I think this is a good film. I recommend you go and watch it in the theater. I think this would be a hard watch at home. I think if you're at home, you have way more of a chance of just shutting it off and walking away, because it just kind of goes on for a little too long in the third act. And I think you'll miss the beautiful finale, because I do think the finale is beautiful, and it definitely brings everything back together, you know. And it definitely is, I think, a great comment on cinema, you know, and a great fourth wall breaking, you know. And when the reviewers are saying about talking about how the finale, it was a great, finale. I didn't know how they were going to do it, and when I saw it, I was like, wow, they're right. That is very clever. Yeah, I really enjoyed this film, and I highly recommend you go and see the theater. I gave it 8 out of 10 because the time span is just too much, and it's just like, I'm just trying to say that for my first. Maybe later on I'll enjoy it more. But this is just a review for me, just a raw review coming out of theater. So I'm not giving you any kind of, and I'm not kissing any ass. I'm just being honest. So yeah, I give it an 8 out of 10. Really good film. Is definitely hurt by its runtime and the bad pacing in the third act, in my opinion. But yeah, I think we definitely need to pay respect to one of the greats, Martin Scorsese. A lot of directors got inspiration from this man, and he definitely inspires up and coming directors now. So I just want to just give my appreciation to Martin Scorsese for his work, and I recommend you guys check it out in theater. If you enjoyed this review, please like, it helps the channel. Subscribe if you like these type of videos. And as always, may the force be with you. Peace and out.